they don't know what they're doing. They don't have an identity. I personally don't think they have an identity.
Well, that happens when you have another player that is intentionally, but is unintentionally usurping power because he's the future kind of thing. Like with Porzingis, I don't think Porzingis is trying to take over the team. I don't think he is. He's too young still. I think that he just wants to play his game. He wants to take shots. But Carmelo Anthony feels a little threatened because of how good this kid is, and one day, he might be up there. Yeah, I mean, one day I think he will. I mean, he's still the second option on this team anyway. But I mean, looking down the list, Jerian Grant is still a pretty good piece. Robin Lopez, he was a big addition to this team.
I really like Rolo. You know what? You can even put Rolo on the same level of Mahinmi. He was kind of in a similar position, the year before, been either backing up or not playing very significant starter.
Well, I mean, he was starting for Portland, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't playing.
He's still playing about 30, 35 minutes a game, but,
But the roles they stepped into on their respective teams.
Stepping up and having to be, third or fourth option on the team.
There was a time in this playoff, I remember, Mahinmi almost got a triple-double.
Yeah, that was crazy. And they had to go from either being fifth option, somebody, Robin Lopez was one of the lower down options, or you had Mahinmi, who started off the bench, and then he became a starter this season and totally turned around his entire thing. But looking down, like Kyle O'Quinn, he hasn't exactly done what everybody thought he was going to do. He hasn't played that many games. How many games did he play this season?
He's played a total of 65 games, actually.
He wasn't hurt. He was just sat for about 17 of those games. He missed a lot of games this season from just being sat down. Like, he didn't play, or when he did play, he didn't play significant minutes.
Yeah.
At least until later in the season, when they shut Porzingis down. He wasn't playing significant minutes. Porzingis, obviously we know, Porzingod, as people like to call him.
Porzingback.
Porzingos. Porzingoat is the one I like. But Kevin Seraphin, 2 years ago he led the league in most fouls per game.
Really?
Yeah, off the bench. Funny enough, he was with Washington 2 seasons ago. Yeah. That's just a fun stat to throw around with your friends or whatnot. Your New York trivia, if you will. But Kevin Seraphin, I like him. He's an active body. I think he's 6'9", 250, something like that. Oh, 6'10", 278. I was thinking of somebody else. Whoopsies. But then you got Lance Thomas. He's an interesting piece, kind of a combo 3-4. The guy can play a couple positions. He's 235 pounds. He went to Duke, so he's pretty good. Sasha Vujacic, consistent 3-point shooter. Consistent, yeah. We both said consistent at the same time. I think that's funny.
He knows his role.
He's a vet. He's just a good shooter, and he brings a lot of space to the floor. Derek Williams. This guy's interesting, man. Do you keep Derek Williams?
I don't know, especially after the year that he's had this year and what a significant improvement he's made in his career.
Yeah.
I almost say you want to keep him because, he gets traded. What happens if...
He has some trade value, though.
I know he does. But it's just
he's one of the few guys that you want to get rid of or that you could get rid of and has trade value on this team. Other than that, you've got a lot of pieces here that have either very little trade value or a lot of trade value, but it compromise your team when you do it.
I think you do keep them though. If you're looking for a team that's trying to rebuild and with a lot of youth, keeping a guy like him and Porzingis around, and just trying to start a whole new youth movement, I think is their biggest thing. They need to get younger, and they're on the right track.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I mean, Derek Williams, I think he came out when he was 19, so he's been in the league. So I think he's, 23, 24 now? So I think I think he's 24 now.
Yeah.
So he's still a pretty young guy. I mean, he's been in the league for quite a while, but he's still a young guy, and he's got an interesting game. Because I can't decide. That's the only thing that worries me. If you're a Knicks fan, that would worry you if you were a Knicks fan. Is what position is he? Is he a 3 or is he a 4?
Oof.
Because back then they used to think that he was a 4. 6'8", 240. He's very athletic. 6'8", 240.
Mm-hmm.
But that athleticism, and his shooting has improved, but he's still only shooting 29% from 3.
I think your biggest concern, if you do end up losing Aaron Aflalo this summer, or either or, I think your biggest concern if you're this team is you have to go after some 3, 4, like the 2 through the 4.
I don't know about 3. Three's not a big issue. What about the
4?
The 4 position, I'd say Porzingis is your 4 man, but the 2 man is my concern. If you lose Aflalo, you don't have a 2 guard on this team. You got to find a 2 guard out of thin air, basically. It's kind of hard to just. Because
you're not gonna get away with Langston Galloway.
No, he's a point guard. He's a point guard anyway. He's your starting point guard.
He's listed as a shooting guard.
He's a point guard. He's been playing at the point guard position his entire time here in New York. But it's nice to have a guy that you can play multiple positions, kind of like that combo guard role.
I think looking in the future.
Where do you see this team in 5 years? That's my question.
Next year, I think they make possibly a 2 to 4 win improvement.
You think so?
Yeah.
Not more?
No, I don't think
32 and 50. Then that's a significant win improvement from the last season, where they won 18 games? Something like that? 17, 18?
I think in the next 5 years, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely do make the playoffs, but
is Carmelo Anthony gone?
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he is, but I think they do make the playoffs. I think they pick up a couple key significant pieces. I think as long as that front office steps up and stops making these Nick-esque trades, I think they have a chance.
They made a couple of better trades. Their biggest thing was they did a really good job in free agency. That was the one thing, because they brought in a lot of pieces from free agency. They brought in Aaron Aflalo. I think he was like a 2-year $8 million. So they stole him basically. Let's see, who else did they get? They drafted Jerry Grant, which was a very good draft pick. But they got Robin Lopez. They signed for Kyle O'Quinn. I think Kyle O'Quinn was signed for. Because he just finished up with his rookie deal. They brought in Kevin Seraphin. I think they also did they bring in Derek Williams this year, or was he there last year?
Derek Williams.
I think he was there.
No. He was with Sacramento the year before.
That's right. Yeah, he was. I always forget. Yeah.
You know what? This is probably his first good year and possibly his last one.
Potentially. I mean, I could see him going.
He's an energy guy. And those energy legs eventually
die. He's just an athletic guy. He's not really an energy guy because he's not a great defender. He's not a great rebounder, but he's a fantastic dunker.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in between positions. And these guys that are in between positions are hit or miss. I've always told you this. Guys like Barkley, who just dominate their position, are an anomaly almost.
Yeah.
Because it's just so hard. You have to pick a position for a guy, and then you have to just play him like he's that position. And if it's not working out, you have to change his position. But you have to stay the course and you have to stay the process. And that's one thing. Derek Williams has never had a good situation. New York has probably been his best situation because for 3 years he was on Minnesota. That's sad to say. 3 years on Minnesota is not great for your health.
Then Sacramento.
Well, yeah, that worked out real well. So now you're on New York. You get a real good shot.
Sacramento has got to have some of the worst owners I've ever seen in my life.
They've just got to have some of the worst. It's just Sacramento. Like, honestly, it's just one of those things. It's just Sacramento. And Sacramento is going to Sacramento. Just the same way that the Clippers are gonna Clipper. Clippers
These
are
guys are
always
just
going to
historical
Clipper.
losers.
Yeah, really are. They really are. They're just not gonna lose. And partially, the Knicks are like that.
They're the other team in the city, if you really think about it.
Who?
The Knicks.
The Knicks are the other team in this.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, since when do you ever go to New York and you see Knicks hats?
Oh, yeah.
It's all Yankees.
Yankees.
It's all Yankees.
The Mets recently.
Everybody's, I've been a Mets fan since birth.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, the Nets. About... You know there were a lot of people walking around with Nets. Mets. Sorry, I was saying Nets. Mets. Nets. Golly, they need to be more creative in New York. But yeah, I mean,
just a
lot of people were walking around with Mets hats last year when they were making the World Series.
I was excited.
When was the last time you saw somebody walk around with a Knicks hat in New York?
Gosh. You know what?
Were they when you were back there all the time and you walked back through New York City? Did you see a lot of people with Knicks hats on?
Absolutely not.
No, that says a lot about this team, doesn't it?
It really does. They've really provided a disservice more to the fans. Even more than Sacramento or Minnesota has.
Well, you can understand Sacramento was taken from them. New York just destroyed everything that they ever had.
Exactly.
Minnesota, they've never been able to put anything there.
I mean, who wants to go to Minnesota?
Nobody wants to go to Minnesota. Man, it's freezing up there. It's cold. It's cold and it snows 400 feet, man.
You've been... What was it? It was 10 years.
Yeah.
Of not being a 10, 15 years of not being a serious title contender. Then all of a sudden they are.
New York.
New York.
New York. Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's just like
New York. And
they
let everything go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, New York didn't really have a choice. I mean, once Ewing left early in New York, that team had a lot of problems.
They really did. After that, it was Allen Houston, Stephen Marbury.
Oh God! And what a bigger disgrace. I don't know which one was worse, honestly.
Jamal Crawford.
Yeah.
And
who was it? There was another great guard there, wasn't there too?
Eddie Curry played guard at one point.
No, he played bench.
That's probably the best position for him too.
Yeah. That means he didn't have to work out.
Exactly.
Stop eating donuts, you crazy man. Eddie Curry. You know the funny part is the Bulls drafted Eddie Curry.
Yeah, I did know that.
God! That's the funnier part. I can't tell what's funnier. It's like, who's crazier, the crazy man or the crazy guy who's listening to him? It's one of those things like, who's the bigger idiot? The Bulls for drafting him or the New York Knicks for trading for him? He was traded for. It's not like it was a free agency deal. He was traded for, it's golly, man.
I'd say it's about split even, honestly. Mainly because you knew what you were getting.
No, I think the Knicks were worse. You do your comprehensive scouting and you see, okay, maybe this guy has potential, and then you get him there and he's like, oh my God, this dude's a lunatic. Why do we have this guy? This guy beats women and stuff. I don't know what the charge was. I think it was aggravated assault. But I try not to, as a Bulls fan, I try to not remember Eddie Curry. I'd rather remember Stephen Curry or Del Curry.
You wish you
maybe even Seth Curry, but not Eddie Curry. No relation, by the way, which is good because he would have been the ridiculous brother. But man, like,
what's sad?
That's the definition of the Knicks in the 2000s. It's just trading for Eddie Curry.
And even now, what's sad? I watched a documentary on Jimmer Fredette.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even tell. He's actually from up where I grew up. He lived really close to where I grew up.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how many times it seemed like people would go to the Knicks fan. Knicks fans would go to the games this past year just to see if he would get playing time if they were winning by a lot or getting blown out.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly getting blown out.
Yeah, mostly.
And you know what? If that's the only thing you got to pull for, it's just like, what is your true value as a team?
Yeah,
I mean, they've provided an absolute disservice to the fans. Honestly,
the fans don't help. The fans don't
the fans
help.
are some of the worst in the NBA.
They don't have a lot of patience. Now, I don't like to criticize fans that much. Like, I'll criticize fans if there's a lot of criticism to be had, but their fans aren't patient. They don't wait for good things to happen. They just expect. They expect
because
to
it's in a big market.
Yeah.
They're going to get everything.
It's the same thing with the Lakers. Like the Lakers expect greatness, and when they don't have it,
the fans leave.
Where are they? It's one of those things. They had next season for the Lakers is going to be horrible. The fans aren't going to show up.
It's going to be worse.
Game.
It's going to be worse than this year.
Oh well, at least you had Kobe. I mean, now you don't even have Kobe. What are you going to go watch? Who are you going to watch? Go, play a Laker game. Nobody wants to watch the Lakers now. They were unbearable to watch this season. But
I think with the Knicks this year, like I said, this offseason, you have to get a 2. Honestly,
I agree.
Especially if a Flower walks.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't, you got to get a 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I mean, you just
need talent.
You need talent.
Yeah. Looking at this roster, really I'd say there are probably 7 or 8 guys that I would keep around here. 7 or 8, which isn't bad, honestly. It's not a bad place to be. 7 or 8 guys. Probably more like 9 if you include Vucevic or Vujacic. Sorry, I got Vujacic and Vucevic here. But yeah, Derek Williams, Sasha Vujacic. Lance Thomas is a serviceable piece. Kevin Seraphin, Porzingis, Lopez, Grant, Galloway.
I think the real difference maker on this team moving forward, outside of Carmelo and Porzingis, is definitely Rolo.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He's still a pretty young guy, too.
He actually brings a little bit of defense to that team.
I think he's a pretty good defender. But more importantly, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy.
They need tough guys.
He's hard-nosed. He likes to get down and fight, and he's not a great defensive player, and he's not a great offensive player. But what he does, he hustles, and he fights, and he does a good job of doing the little things right so that other players can do bigger things correctly. And that's a big service to your team when you can do that.
Exactly.
And do it consistently. You know what he's going to give you every night. That's the one thing. He's a bit like Gortat. You know what he's going to give you every night. They're not going to be great numbers. They're not going to be dominant numbers. They're not going to be Howard in a playoff run numbers, 22 and 10. But they're going to be good. They're going to be good numbers. And they're going to be there every single night when you need them. Those players have so much value.
Yeah.
Those players are invaluable in my book. Because those guys are the guys who show up, put their uniform on, go down in the trenches, and battle away. And those are the guys you want to listen to.
So Tyler Hansbrough.
Yeah,
that's funny.
End the segment already. You just brought up Tyler Hansbrough, and I
can't
talk to you.
Okay, guys, we're gonna have to cut off. Sorry,
I can't believe this.
I brought up Tyler Hansbrough. We're cutting
Tyler Hansbrough.
He's no Kwame Brown. Anyway, guys, this has been a case.
He's still a scrub.
Oh, shush, guys! This has been a case for Pace. Doing a year in review of all 30 teams, and this was the Knicks.
Absolutely, where we talk about serious topics like Tyler Hansbrough.
Yeah, and the Knicks. Because they're such a serious topic.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.